Gentleman's time has expired. I now recognize the chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs and former chairman of this committee, Mr. McCaul, for his 5 minutes questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. Mr. Secretary, you took an oath to protect the country from enemies, both foreign and domestic. I believe in many respects you violated that oath. Let me start with the Immigration and Nationality Act. It states that, quote, the government shall take into custody any alien that has committed an aggravated felony. Those are dangerous, violent criminals. End of quote. And as you know, you're an attorney, as am I, shall is mandatory language. It doesn't say maybe, doesn't say, well, whatever you think at the time. It says shall. Those are words by the Congress. Mandatory language means you shall detain. Yet in September 2021, your memo to your Border Patrol agents titled Guidance for Enforcement of Civil Immigration Law, you instructed your Border Patrol officers not to take prior criminal conduct into account when taking enforcement action. Whether a non-citizen poses a current threat to public safety is not to be determined according to bright lines or categories. Our personnel should not rely on the fact of a conviction or the result of a database search alone. In other words, you directed your own agents on the ground on the border to defy the laws of Congress, to release violent criminals into our countries. And you know what aggravated felon means under the statute, but for those who don't, it includes murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and drug traffickers. And God knows how many have been released into this country due to this policy that you issued in September 2021. My state took this up to appeal to the Supreme Court, where Justice Kavanaugh asked whether impeachment would be warranted for an official who defied the laws passed by Congress. President Biden's own Solicitor General replied that such steps would be warranted, quote, in the face of a dramatic abdication of a statutory responsibility by the executive. In my view, you've defied the law, you defied congressional intent in the best interest of the American people, and you've made this country, sir, a far more dangerous place, not to mention the hundreds of those in the terror watch list who have gotten into this country. How do you respond?
Mr. Chairman, I have 3 points to make. One, you mischaracterize the enforcement guidelines that I published.
I read directly from them, sir.
Secondly, we have removed more aggravated felons each month than the prior administration did. Third, my enforcement guidelines mirror to a great extent, and in the quoted language, prior enforcement guidelines that other administrations have issued. The fact of the matter is that we enforce the law. We deem public security.
All right, I'm going to reclaim my time on that. You're saying you enforce the law when you told your agents, don't take into account prior criminal conduct. Aggravated felons do not take into account the fact they maybe have a murder conviction or a rapist conviction, or, well, that's what's under the statute, sir. And you told them, don't take that into account. And you can say you've had the best record ever as a Secretary of Homeland. You can say that, but nobody believes it. And I got to tell you, back home in my state, Texas, very, very upset. I want to close with 1833 Supreme Court Justice Story said, where a, quote, where a Lord Admiral has neglected to safeguard the seas, that shall be deemed an impeachable offense. I believe that's exactly the case here. You have neglected not just the seas, but the air, land, and the seas, and you've destroyed the fabric of this nation. And my last question to you is, how many persons on the terror watch list have gotten into this country?
Mr. Chairman, I'd be pleased to provide you with data subsequent to this hearing.
And will you provide the names and backgrounds?
Let me assure you that the security of the American people is our highest priority.
Will you provide the names and the backgrounds of the
I would
persons?
be pleased to provide you with whatever information you need in the appropriate setting.
A bit of a non-answer, but I'll take that. Thank you.